3, 2, 1, start. I do not propose, Mr. Chairman, to make any long speech. Indeed, I might, with great respect, say to the House to accept this motion for reference to a committee without any great debate because I think it is recognized on all hands that an untouchability bill is required. The Constitution has already abolished untouchability, and I have heard over and over again that such a bill has long been overdue. I noticed that one of the amendments tabled is that the bill be circulated for eliciting public opinion. I most respectfully suggest that this procedure might be useful where there may be a possibility of a difference of opinion, and one might like to ascertain in what direction the current of public opinion of flowing. But where there is no room for doubt or dispute, no room for any divergence of opinion, and there is, if I may put it that way, universal agreement that the bill is necessary and should be urgently passed, where is the necessity for such a procedure? Indeed, some members have already complained against me that there has been delay in the introduction or in the passage of this bill. I therefore think that in a case like this eliciting of public opinion is really not a necessary process. I dare say the select committee will take some time over it. The bill has been before the public for 7 or 8 months, and organizations, groups, individuals, anyone who wants to voice his own opinion or to offer suggestions would himself come forward and let the committee have memoranda or write to them or ask for oral examination. I am personally anxious that this bill should find its way on the statute book as early as possible. I would have really liked to put through this bill in the last session, but there was such congestion of legislative business that it could not be brought forward at that time. That is about this small matter or referring the bill for eliciting public opinion by a certain date. Now, I imagine honorable members have read through the bill and also the statement of objects and reasons. It is what I call a coercive measure, and all legislation must, of necessity, be of a coercive nature. Therefore, every clause of this untouchability offences bill is of a coercive nature, and this bill should be scrapped. It states that untouchability has been abolished and directs that the so-called untouchables should be treated with respect, should be accorded equal rights which are guaranteed to them by the Constitution. It is not a question of rights guaranteed to them. Rights are guaranteed to every citizen, irrespective of class, caste, or creed. Honorable members know what are the general provisions. So far as I know, in the urban areas, there is not much of untouchability left because there is a good deal of political consensus. There are public speeches, political discussions, and the provisions of the constitution have become well known. So there is not much of untouchability left. But the complaints which I hear, which honorable members hear, and which are presented on the floor of this house and state legislatures are that it still persists in the rural areas. Even among the rural areas, conditions differ from state to state. So far as what was termed in the olden days as British India was concerned, that has been undergoing a continuous process of political education and social education under the great and inspiring leadership of Gandhi ji for the last 30 years, and his message had reached every single village in British India. But what we used to call in the olden days the Indian states, areas which are now represented by Part B or Part C states. I fear that the conditions existing there are not so advanced in this particular matter as conditions in other parts of India. In Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Punjab, and other places, all things still persist. In these matters, progress is bound to be slow, and a good deal of propaganda and persuasion is required, and what is more necessary is a personality. The man who preaches should be one who inspires respect and veneration. If he goes and conveys the message, people listen to him. I have always held the view, Mr. Chairman, that while the legislature must act, is bound to act, should act, and take measures to show to every citizen of India that this untouchability business shall no longer be tolerated. At the same time, we must always bear in mind Gandhi ji's teachings, and there should be no supplement the legal process, active social propaganda among the people. This was what I intended to say. I will not take any more of your time.